Yes, to realize that by my own free will, I willingly got into something that completely took control over me, that I lost control of myself behind drugs and a process of deprogramming, losing my morals.
It wasn't just drugs, it was Charles Manson's persuasiveness too.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of deprogramming that was involved in that. You take away a person's conscience of right and wrong by telling them when they're under LSD or any mind-expanding drug, there's no such thing as guilt. And you've already come to a place in your mind or your imagination where you don't like the feeling of guilt, so it's easy to say, yeah, there's no such thing as guilt. I'll believe there's no such thing as guilt, therefore I can do anything and not feel guilty about it.
Can you understand why many people, perhaps most people outside, are going to feel that you don't deserve parole, that you should never be given parole? You're aware of that?
Yes.
Well, so what if you spend the rest of your life in this prison?
Then I spend the rest of my life in this prison.
Is that thought depressing to you, though?
No, because I know that, how can I put it? I'm content. I've found it's not determined by my situation or my circumstance or my physical surroundings.
How's it come about?
How does peace come about? My peace?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I found peace through salvation in Jesus. And just knowing that I've been forgiven by God is sufficient for me.
And the fact that you know out there people probably can't forgive you
Yes.
has no effect on you?
No. Because they're not the ones that I have to face in the end when I die. I have to face God, and it's His forgiveness that determines my peace.
At 21, Susan Atkins was center stage in the crime of the century. Now, 7 years later, she says her life has come to a better purpose. Without that, she probably wouldn't have lived. Or as a reporter wrote during the trial, Susan Atkins looked like she might start screaming someday and never stop.
You wanna?
Well, I can ask you now, what did Tex really do there? What did you observe?
Yeah, of what I saw happening in Tex, the way he moved, the viciousness and cold. It was just like seeing somebody go crazy with more power than I've ever seen anybody. I don't think he was in control of himself. I think that he was in control of in their own human strength could do what Tex did.
Well, Charles Manson was in control of him, right?
Yeah, as far as giving orders, but I don't think Charles Manson's mind was in control of Tex's mind that night. I think that it was a higher power than that. Charlie's human too, you know, and his mental powers are just as limited, maybe not as limited as other humans, but that there was an evil force in control of Tex that night.
Well, it was in control of all of you, obviously.
He did things that, you've heard stories, I'm sure, of people who have lifted up cars off of other people, how they have superhuman strength. Well, Tex had that kind of strength that night. But not for good, it was for evil. So it's harming and hurting people. Just to be able I only saw him kill those people, and then I've heard later that he has said himself that he was responsible for all the deaths.
At the Tate House?
At the Tate House, yes.
Are you trying to lay the blame off on him?
No. No.
Then what do you think is the point of this?
That the truth be told, that the truth be made known. I tried to take blame from Tex and from Charlie and from Pat and from Leslie by taking and saying that I had killed Sharon Tate and that I had killed Gary Hinman. I tried to take some of the blame and put it on myself because I thought that was my part at that point, and that was a lie. And
in this room were all the survivors of those victims, of yours and the others, their families and their friends. What would you say to them?
well, about me now is that I'm not the woman that I was in 1969. I'm a new creature in Christ. I've been completely spiritually, mentally, and almost physically born again, though my outside is not changed all that much. The inside of me has changed. That I love them with a love that I don't think any words that I could tell them could express, but only by living a life that may help somebody else, by preventing maybe somebody else from going down the same road, by preventing other survivors of such a terrible thing, is the only way that I could say what I would have to say to them. I just love them. I feel for them. I feel their pain. I feel their sorrows and their loss. And I didn't feel that years ago. I didn't feel anything for them. But today I still feel pain when I think about her and that she's not here, and I don't think that anything that I could say could ease that pain in any of the survivors' hearts. And only God can take care of that. Only God can give them an assurance that their loved ones are with Him, and I believe that with my whole heart. I believe that those people that died that night are with God, and that they're at peace, and it's the only thing that I can tell them. And I believe that with my whole heart. And that by the grace of God, the survivors will also see their loved ones again one day.
People watching may think that you're cop.
No, I'm going to pass.
Nothing?
No,
No,
I pass. Would you give that steak to Mike if he wants it?
Next door?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing.
No. Well, when company always stick the dirt in the back.
What do you mean by that?
If you're outside and you live a life on the outside, the mind that you live in, the thought that you live in, is a family. The head of your family is Nixon. He's your father. He's lost sight of his children. He doesn't see in the back. He doesn't see in the shadows. He doesn't see on the roadsides. He doesn't see in the back of the cells. He doesn't see in the yard in the penitentiary. You take the bottom of the world. He doesn't see the bottom.